Alright guys, so today I'm going to go over dividing decimals with you. You should be following along with me on your paper, so make sure that you are writing down what I write and you are solving the problems with me, okay? So we're going to start with this first problem, 3 5/10 divided by 5/10. So we know the first step we need to make is to turn these into whole numbers instead of decimals. So to start, we're going to move our decimal over 1 and turn this into 5. We're going to cross out our old decimal, so now we have 5 on the outside, and we are going to move our decimal on the inside as well over 1. So if you move 1 on the outside, you move 1 on the inside. Okay, and then we're going to cross out that old decimal. So now we're working with 35 divided by 5, a much easier problem than the original one with all the decimals in it. All right, so 5 goes into 3 0 times. Oh, I almost forgot. I have to put my decimal, I gotta move it up, put it on the elevator, and move it up to the top of my division bar. So that should be your second step always. I moved a little bit faster, I almost forgot about it, but you wanna always make sure you do that first before you even start dividing. All right, so back to where we were, 5 goes into 3 0 times. 5 goes into 35 7 times, and 5 times 7 is 35. So I'm going to subtract, and I end up with a remainder of 0. So my answer here is 7 and a decimal. Now whenever we have a decimal, you can add a 0 to the end there, but really that is the same as 7. So our answer is 7. 7 and 0/10 would be acceptable as well, but really you don't even need the 0/10 because it really just equals 7. So 7 would be our answer for that problem. All right, so let's do our second example problem. Now we are working with 7 15/100 and 1 3/10. So again, same first step. We're going to move our decimal so we are working with a whole number on the outside. Okay, we're going to move this decimal over. So now we have 13, and we moved 1 time on the outside, so we're going to move 1 time on the inside. Okay, so now we have 71 5/10. Our next step before we even start dividing is to move our decimal up, put it on the elevator, move it right up. Do not change its place. You want to keep it in the same place. Just move it right there on top of the division bar so that it's going to be part of our quotient. All right, so now let's get started with our dividing. Now we're working with 13. So how many times does 13 go into 7? 0 times. It does not fit into 7. Does 13 go into 71? The answer is yes, but the question here is how many times? So what I would suggest you do is just go off to the side and try a few numbers that make sense. I'm going to start with 5 just to be safe, so I'm going to try 13 times 5. 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 1, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So now I have 65. Does that go into 71? It sure does. Could it go in another time without going over? Well, I'm going to just add 13 right here real quick just to find out. 5 plus 3 is 8, 6 plus 1 is 7, that's 78. So we see that one more time would be too much. So 5 is the perfect number. 13 goes into 71 5 times, and 13 times 5, as we just found out, is 65. So we're going to put 65 underneath here. Subtract. 1 minus 5, can't do that. I got to borrow from my 7. Turn this into a 6. Turn this into an 11. 11 minus 5 is 6. And 6 minus 6 is 0. So now we have a 6. And we know 13 can't go into 6. We're going to bring down our next digit, which is a 5. Now we have 65. Can 13 go into 65? Well, luckily we just figured out that it can, and it goes in exactly 5 times. So we're going to put 5 up here. 13 times 5 is 65. Subtract, and we get no remainder. So our answer here, since we've already brought our decimal point up, we can just circle our answer. We know our answer is 5 5/10. All right, so those are the 2 problems for my video. Go ahead and make sure that you have all of those. You can always go back, pause, rewind if you need to, and then flip over to the back of your practice page and try some on your own. Good luck.